they're pretty much ready to go, and let's have a look at their teams.
Here we go. We already know Wolfie's team. It's a Polito, Salamence, Porygon 2, Magnezone, Tapu Bulu, and the famous Mach.
And on Eric's side, we have got Tapu Bulu, Porygon 2, Arcanine, Alola Marowak, Celesteela, and Politoed. We have these pins to match this. We're going to see if we can get caught. Here we go. The audio's caught up now, guys. Things are all good. So we've got the Porygon 2 on both teams. There is the potential for Trick Room there, but what I like to see is the Celesteela versus the Magnezone.
Absolutely. We have had it on screen already. Magnezone got a almost unique ability in... help me out in the English name.
Magnet Pull?
Magnet Pull, thank you. So Steel types cannot switch out once they face a Magnezone, and Magnezone can fire off some really strong thunderbolts towards that Celesteela.
It can indeed, and Celesteela, while it is incredibly bulky, it doesn't want to be trapped in against things that it doesn't want to be out of control of what it is in against. So the Magnezone is a very strong metagame call that we've seen early, and we've already seen Wolfie use it to great success. Here we have Wolfie on stream. He's already concentrating on the game, and we're going to get right into the game footage here. So what are their leads going to be? We have Wolfie sending out Salamence and Tapu Bulu, a very aggressive team to start off with. And from Eric, we have got Arcanine and his own Tapu Bulu.
This is two interesting leads. Tapu Bulu is a pretty versatile Pokemon. You can go a pretty offensive route, like we've seen with Wood Hammers, Horn Leeches, Stone Edges, but you can, on the other side, go pretty defensively with Substitutes, Leech Seeds, some Horn Leeches, and Salamence is really threatening both Pokemon from Eric. It can either fire off a super high-powered Draco Meteor in that Arcanine slot. On the other hand, it threatens Tapu Bulu with a strong flamethrower, but so does Arcanine, threatening Wolfie's Tapu Bulu with a flamethrower, but it goes out.
Yeah, it was quite a nice mirror lead there with the Intimidator and the Tapu Bulu. But we see Arcanine switching out for Celesteela here and a substitute for the Salamence. This looks like it's going to be quite a bulky Salamence, and it wants to stick around a little bit.
Absolutely. Oh,
double substitute this. So Sebi and I are both wearing substitute pins. Wolfie is double subbed on screen, and we have the substitute for Eric Rios.
Absolutely. I really like that play. We have seen the play from Wolfie like twice or something, where he doesn't want to predict. He wants to play it safe. He abuses the safe play and scouting from Eric's side to set up his substitute, and he's in favor then. And in comes the Magnezone. Amazing play. He pretends to stay in with that substitute up and switches in that Magnezone for a quick catch on the Celesteela.
Yeah, and it meant that he was able to get the, he managed to get the flamethrower off on Tapu Bulu, but Tapu Bulu's responding with a Stone Edge attack, which of course Salamence doesn't really enjoy, and the substitute fades away. Celesteela's coming in with its own heavy slam attack, doubling up on the Salamence and taking it down to the red. And Tapu Bulu recovering a little bit of its HP there with the grassy terrain. It is actually the only grounded Magnezone as well has already got full HP.
Yeah, absolutely. But this, guys, again, this was a really huge play by Wolfie. He tricked Eric into thinking he's staying in because of the substitute, and switches out a sub Pokemon for Magnezone to get that catch on Celesteela. And now Eric is switching out the Tapu Bulu in favor of Marowak. Again, another pretty good play from Eric to catch those Thunderbolts aimed at Celesteela. And we are seeing... Whoa, this might be a really huge play. This might be a really huge play by Wolfie if he predicted that Marowak switch in.
I think it's quite possible he predicted it. He's got it, Eric does not want the Magnezone staying alive. He doesn't want it staying on the pitch, and indeed that Devastating Drake goes straight into the Marowak slot, and the Marowak is down. That's bad news for Eric, because that Marowak was the way that he could have potentially got rid of that Magnezone, which makes its own substitute, ensuring that the Celesteela is stuck here for a little bit longer. Salamence is going to be taken down, so we'll have to see if Wolfie's going to sub in a new way of damaging the Celesteela. And here we go, the Ultra Impulse, the Beast Boost from the Celesteela, boosting... Did you see which stat that was, Sebi?
I think it was defense.
defense. We've seen a lot of Celesteela boosting their special defense through Beast Boost. So it'd be interesting to see a more physically defensive one.
Yeah, pero no hablo español muy bien. I don't speak, I don't speak Spanish that well, so it might have been special defense as well. But again, that Magnezone play plus the Marowak switch in Predict was huge by Wolfie. Really huge. Good. Now he's pretty much free to fire off a Thunderbolt into that Celesteela slot and to fire off strong water attacks into the Arcanine slot. And Tapu Bulu doesn't want to come in to get scalded and burned.
Yeah. Do you reckon we're going to see potentially a Snarl here from Arcanine, try and minimise some of that damage?
Yeah.
A lot of Arcanine's other usually run moves won't be much use if it won't be wanted to use any fire attacks. It probably still wouldn't do enough to... in Magnezone, it might still do enough damage in the rain to get rid of its substitute, but I'm not sure that would be too much help to him at the moment. It won't be using Morning Sun. Roar, there's the potential for Roar because it will go through substitute. It is a sound-based move, but Magnezone will still be staying in this turn. As we see, Arcanine does actually go for the Flamethrower on the Magnezone, and it does, as we said, it does do enough damage to break the substitute. So Magnezone is now exposed. Politoed going for the Scald on Arcanine and doing hefty damage, but Arcanine is shockingly bulky.
Absolutely, it's really bulky, plus it eats a Citrus Berry to get some health back, and we see a strong Thunderbolt aimed at Arcanine. So Wolfie's not touching the Celesteela, he's letting it stay there, doing Celesteela stuff because he can just take it out later on with Magnezone. Celesteela cannot damage Politoed and Magnezone hard with Heavy Slam, besides some Leech Seed, but Politoed probably breaks the sub from Celesteela, and Magnezone later on just pretty much
yeah.
one hit KOs it.
It's not a happy Celesteela at the moment. Celesteela's probably going to be looking to either Leech Seed the Politoed or get its own sub up just to get around some of the damage, but we've got Tapu Bulu coming out here. Tapu Bulu does threaten Politoed. I'm not sure how much it threatens Magnezone on the other hand though, but then Magnezone could be hitting it back for some steel type attack.
Yeah.
I think this is still in Wolfie's favour.
Absolutely, this is absolutely
safe to say.
Safe to say it is in Wolfie's favour. That Magnezone can aim a Flash Cannon in the direction of Bulu, can Thunderbolt the Celesteela, Politoed can even use Perish Song as we have seen on screen before, because Wolfie's up 3 Pokemon versus 2.
And there
it is.
Canto Morel. There is Politoed's Perish Song, and we've seen Wolf use this particular win condition before. That looked like Magnezone was going for what might have been a Flash Cannon into the Tapu Bulu slot, but instead Celesteela does a little bit of damage with Heavy Slam into the Magnezone slot, but not significant, considerably not significant.
That Wolfie again, we have seen Wolfie playing several times in stream, and he almost always executes the plan, taking out 2 Pokemon and Perish Song the rest, because I can still switch with 3 Pokemon, defensively so good that I do not take enough damage in these 3 rounds, and I think this is like real good call by Wolfie.
It's a shame for Wolfie that the grassy terrain's gone down, just to not extend the longevity of the Magnezone a little bit, but I really don't think it's a threat here. The thing in danger here would be Politoed from a potential heavy Wood Hammer or Horn Leech from Tapu Bulu, but all Politoed really has to do is protect, and indeed Politoed does protect.
Yeah, absolutely. This is pretty hard for Eric. He knows that he has to take out that Magnezone, Politoed, and what's in the back in 3 turns. If he doesn't get it, then he straight out loses the match, and Wolfie plays it safe. I'm curious to see how much the Megaton Floral does. Bloom Doom, guys, onto probably the Politoed.
Presumably the Politoed. Oh, it's going onto the Magnezone. Well, this is not going to do a lot of damage. Maybe thinking the Magnezone would switch out at this point, yeah, because it wasn't necessary for the Celesteela anymore. But unfortunately, it does very little damage.
Yeah.
I don't know how much damage it would have done through Protect to the Politoed. Still probably nowhere near enough, but more than it did to the Magnezone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, this is pretty good play by Wolfie. He just double protects now. He switches out 1 Pokemon and attacks maybe the Tapu Bulu with Flash Cannon because Celesteela is the less of a threat. And there he goes.
So he's switched out Politoed, he's brought in his own Tapu Bulu just to ensure that he does still have some Pokemon that are not suffering from the Perish Sun count. Grassy Terrain goes back up. And that is a Wood Hammer from Eric's own Tapu Bulu onto Wolfie's Tapu Bulu, doing about just over half damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough. We have Thunderbolt here onto the Celesteela from Wolf. And a Heavy Slam, double targeting into the Tapu Bulu slot from Eric.
Not quite what I was expecting. I expected, to be honest, a Flash Cannon into the Tapu Bulu slot. There must be some plan behind it to Thunderbolt the Celesteela. I still think the better play would have been Flash Cannon. But speaking about better plays, the better players are out there, and I just want to let you know that Till Boomer won his match versus Ying from Hong Kong. And we had it on backup stream, guys, but it was a Celesteela stall fest, and
it looked a lot like the previous game, didn't it? It did go to game 3, it was incredibly close, but we have just got confirmation that Till was the winner. Yeah,
and we wanted to show Wolfie versus Eric so hard that it just went into the game, and here we are.
So that was the Protect from Polito, just making sure that it's safe for this last turn. Tapu Bulu firing off a Wood Hammer into the Magnezone, just seeing what it can do. Magnezone going, again, it's pretty much Wolf's at this point.
Absolutely. Maybe that Thunderbolt from Magnezone into the Celesteela, he wants to know how much damage do I do with Thunderbolt to the Celesteela. Yeah, it got its probably special defense boosted, but Wolf is clever enough to calculate that boost in, and now he should know how much does my Thunderbolt to Celesteela. Is it a one-hit KO or not? And I think this is the reason behind the Thunderbolts aimed at Celesteela. And here we see the Perish Song doing its work and taking out all Pokemon beside Politoed, and we get Wolfie Glick up 1 game.
Yes, we do. Wolfie has taken the first game of this set. Politoed doing what we have seen Politoed do and getting off that Perish Song for the neat win condition. Wolfie made some incredible plays there. Again, the substitute and immediate switch out to Magnezone, tricking his opponent into double targeting Salamence. They were, wonderful, clever plays that we expect from our world champion, I think.
Absolutely. It all started with that switch out, switch into the Magnezone from Wolfie, and this really sealed the deal for Celesteela, although he didn't even touch it then. I was really... He didn't need to. He just planned his game plan so that he just takes out 2 Pokemon, sets up a Perish Trap. Celesteela can't do anything to my Pokemon besides Leech Seeding and firing off some low base power Heavy Slams. And here we are again with the 2 teams. Eric plays Tapu Bulu, Porygon 2, Arcanine, Marowak, Celesteela and Politoed. And the Politoed on Wolfie's side as well is Salamence, Porygon 2, Magnus on the Tapu Bulu and a Muck. And I think Eric has to adjust some things to not being able to combat Wolfie.
Do you think he'll bring the Celesteela again? Or do you think it's too much of a risk?
I think he's going more of an aggressive route. If I was in his place, I'd just try to take out 1 or 2 mons as soon as possible. We all know Wolfie is always trying to make safe plays and abuse safe plays pretty well by using substitutes. He did it really well in the last games, and if I were Eric, I'd try to knock out as soon as possible, maybe with a sap move, and in comes again the same, not the same lead.
Very similar. He has brought the Celesteela with him, and we see Celesteela where there was previously an Arcanine.
Right.
I am quite surprised that Eric chose to bring the Celesteela again, but we'll have to see if it manages to do more work for him than it did in the previous match.
Yeah. The other plan Eric could focus on is try to knock out the Politoed on a switch-in or on a in an uncautioned moment to not let it set up the Perish song, but Celesteela can't, obviously, so he needs his Tapu Bulu to hit the Politoed. Porygon 2, neither Porygon 2, Arcanine, Celesteela, nor Marowak can one-hit KO Wolfie's Politoed, and this is like huge.
Oh, but we've got Eric sending in his own Politoed. He's going to be trying to control the weather a little bit more himself. He wants the rain set up on his own terms. And Salamence once again on Wolf's side setting up that substitute. Do we going to see the same thing from Tapu Bulu? No, we're going to actually see a Leech Seed. Leech Seed is not something that you see that often on Tapu Bulu.
Absolutely, absolutely not, but as stated. And then here we see Eric's trying not to let Wolfie set up a substitute again. I really love how Wolfie abuses the counter to the safe play by Leech Seeding the Celesteela. Now Celesteela has to switch out later or sooner or later, sorry, if it doesn't want to get consudial damage on it. Again, pretty well played by Wolf.
Yeah, I think these high-level plays are something that it's really good to be seeing in these games. We saw in the previous game watching Yuri Leech Seed his own Milotic for the just to prevent a Celesteela getting it. Here we've seen these wonderful plays by Wolf. I think this is like this is the top level of the game.
Absolutely. These are the Pokemon International Championships.
Having said that, guys, I cannot recommend generally Leech Seeding your own Milotic. Generally, that won't go well for you.
No, that was a special case because Conan couldn't Leech Seed the Milotic, and this was a huge play, and we are seeing really good plays here as well. Again, we see the Magnezone coming in to trap that Celesteela, which got Leech Seeded already and gets whistled down. Wolfie brought himself into a really good position right now. There is Tapu Bulu and Celesteela on Eric's side, and Wolfie got Tapu Bulu on Magnezone, and maybe Eric is trying to fish for a Politoed switch in.
Potentially. I actually think the Celesteela did a lot of damage to the Tapu Bulu there. I don't think it was quite in range of a KO from this point, but the Tapu Bulu, at least it needs to be aware that Celesteela exists. But we have Marowak coming out on Eric's side, and Wolfie bringing in his own Politoed, which Marowak is kind of wishing did not switch in at that very moment. And that was a flash cannon into what was previously a Tapu Bulu. It got a critical hit on the Marowak, which probably why it did a fair chunk of damage, still not a great deal. Celesteela once again throwing off a heavy slam into the Politoed.
Again, so good, so well played by Wolfie. He covered almost everything. He didn't go for Thunderbolt because he knew there is a potential Marowak switch in. He sent his Politoed out. Such a great play. He targeted the Buluslov with a flash cannon, so he covered that his Politoed is now in for free. He can score the Marowak slot or the Celesteela slot for basically, well, he has to score the Marowak slot, sorry.
Of course, but yeah, Wolf just covered all the bases with that turn. Covering the switch, covering the not switch, and also choosing his move based on the fact that it could have been a Lightning Rod user that was coming in. So it's still early days. We still have 4 Pokemon on both sides of the field, but Wolfie's in a very commanding position, and Marowak does kind of have to protect at this point. It doesn't want to take a Scald, which indeed it was about to. But we see Magnezone, more of the sub-plays, Magnezone putting up its substitute, and Celesteela going for the Leech Seed on Politoed.
Again, this is, well, Eric is playing pretty caution, but Wolf just covers almost everything. His team is really well built. He put, I guess, way more thoughts in it than he's admitting, because he just got a really good game plan in this matchup, whereas Eric maybe is just trying to interrupt the game plan from Wolfie, and he didn't go for early knockouts. He doesn't play aggressive, and once you let Wolfie position him, it's pretty hard to combat that.
Do you think that Marowak can really... Do you think Marowak's going to be able to do some damage here? Or do you reckon Marowak is not going to be... In this particular set of 4 we see on the battlefield, do you think Marowak kind of has to switch out at this point?
It has to, because
there we go.
Politoed is free to scald it.
Oh, and Politoed is sent in place of it. We do see Politoed going for the scald onto the switch-in Politoed. Maybe not as... Oh, we do see the burn. We have got burn chances all over the stream today with Scald. It is a 30% chance, so it is pretty high. But we've also got the flash cannon coming into that slot from the Magnezone, and then it runs away and scuttles back behind its sub.
And again, we see a heavy slam aimed at Politoed, doing some chip damage only. Politoed got some leftovers, I think, on Wolfie's side, on Wolfie's end as well, healing back some well-needed health for defensive play. And again, Wolfie is still in a really good position. Politoed is in, yeah. Eric avoided the damage taken from the Scald, but he's not in any better situation. Now Magnezone is free to Thunderbolt one of those Pokemon if Wolfie's Politoed just doubles into the same, like, well, Celesteela obviously can't switch out, but if he doubles into the Politoed with Thunderbolt and Scald, there is not much Eric can do bar taking damage.
Well, the rain has cancelled out, so the Politoed Skulls are not going to be doing as much damage as they were previously, but they still have that very unpleasant burn chance. Potentially the Celesteela Heavy Slam on the Politoed slot. Was wondering if there would be a Tapu Bulu switch in, maybe hoping to catch that. Unfortunately, it did land on Politoed. Politoed taking very minimal damage per turn because the Heavy Slam is only just greater than the leftovers that it was getting there and the Grassy Terrain it had previously. But is this going to be enough to break Magnezone's stub? Even outside of rain, that is still enough to break the substitute on the Magnezone.
And the Encore coming out. I'm really impressed by Wolfie's plays. Eric is just trying to avoid damage, but Wolfie is chipping damage every turn, and once Eric is down to 2 Pokemon, he just sets up his Perish Song and seals the deal.
And I think we may be going to see that pretty soon, because Eric hasn't really been able to establish an offensive presence on the field. He had the Marowak, but Politoed came in immediately to spoil Marowak's fun. And beyond that, there just hasn't really been enough aggression. It's a bulky team, sure, but it's not been able to get around the equivalent bulk on Wolf's side of the field. So Marowak's going to come back out now. Politoed doesn't have the rain up anymore, so it won't be doing as hefty damage to Marowak, but, you know, Marowak still doesn't really want to be there.
Not at all, not at all. And, yeah, this is Marowak doesn't want to be there. It probably can't one-hit KO Politoed right now with a potential Shadow Bone. Whereas it may be in range for Skull plus Flash Cannon from Magnezone. We have seen Magnezone doing that amount of damage with a Flash Cannon. It took already, and in comes the Salamence.
It's going to get that Intimidate off on the Marowak to minimise the damage that it would have been doing. And do you think there's anything really that Celesteela can add to this match at this moment?
I doubt Celesteela was the lead he should have gone with. He knew Wolfie brought Magnezone into the first match. He knows that it gets trapped, and Wolfie seeded it with Leech Seed pretty early, so it cannot heal itself that high. And Wolfie again is in a pretty good situation if he aims a Draco Meteor at Marowak and a Thunderbolt at Celesteela. Eric can just go for the defensive play again and either switch out or protect, and we see the switch out.
I think there was a Flash Cannon coming into that switch out slot? Possibly? Yeah. Well, we see the Grassy Terrain coming back up here, and we'll have to see... Ooh! But here we have the Dragon Z move coming in from Salamence. We have the Devastating Drake, and it's presumably aimed at what was the Marowak slot.
Yeah.
Which does not affect Tapu Bulu. That was a very good switch from Eric's part.
And he doesn't get the knockout on Bulu. with the flash cannon, but he covered that switch in. And again, Salamence is the fastest Pokemon on the field, threatening that Tapu Bulu with a flamethrower, and Magnezone threatening the Celesteela with a Thunderbolt, and Eric cannot do much, bar taking lesser damage than he could possibly take.
Right, but that was a really good switch on Eric's part. He managed to waste Wolfie's Z move. He did manage to survive the Magnezone. He does still have at least another turn open of Tapu Bulu. Even if Tapu Bulu is not able, even if Salamence comes along and takes Tapu Bulu straight out now, at least Marowak is able to come back in without the Intimidate on it.
Yeah, wow. I'm really impressed. This is something you have to consider, guys. Once you play on a high tournament level, consider every possible possibility, switch-ins, how to cover switch-ins if the switch-in doesn't happen, and if it happens like this, Draco Meteor plus Flash Cannon into the same slot covers so much, and there he goes for the knockout with Salamence onto Celesteela, and Tapu Bulu, whoa, shows Bloom Doom, I guess.
Yes, indeed, Bloom. I'm very disappointed none of the players have done the Z move dances on stream yet, by the way. We have Bloom Doom coming in from Tapu Bulu. I'm not sure it's going to do a horrendous amount of damage to either of its opponents, but we'll see. It is targeting the Magnezone. And actually, that did a lot of damage. That's the strength of Tapu Bulu.
And there comes the Flash Cannon, taking out Eric's Tapu Bulu.
So we're going to see Marowak coming back in here. I think this game is Wolf's now.
This game is pretty much Wolf's now, yeah.
Yeah, when I say I think, I don't want to say for sure.
Well, Pokemon is Pokemon. Things may happen, things can happen, and things happen as they can. And well, Draco Meteor has a chance to miss. You can always misclick, but you shouldn't. And for everyone who knows Wolfie, he doesn't misclick. And Draco Meteor connects on the Marowak. Let's see if it is enough for a knockout. Not quite enough, but we see a Flash Cannon aimed at the Marowak and getting the knockout, and Wolfie secured a 2-0 win in two really good games by two really good players. This was a...
That was a really good Raichu. Which one is it going to be targeting down? I presume it's going to be the Marowak, but he might be trying to get the additional damage on Oranguru.
Let's have a look.
It is going into Oranguru. He does not want Trick Room to go up. And
this is a huge amount of damage on that Oranguru.
And we see the Moonblast from Tapu Lele. Niels is double targeting the Oranguru, but is it going to be enough? It is not going to be enough. That is a Life Orb Tapu Lele, and Oranguru does what Oranguru does, and it gets up Trick Room. And now the Oranguru Instruct Powerful Marowak shenanigans can begin.
And now Raichu showed that it has no focus edge. Marowak got a really strong Ghost type attack in Shadow Bone. Super effective damage on both Tapu Lele and Raichu, and Oranguru's really signature move, Instruct. I can instruct Marowak to use Shadow Bone twice on both Pokemon.
So I think Niels has to do some defensive work here. He's got two very frail things on the field, and indeed we see Raichu switching out for Pelipper, potentially trying to nullify any of the fire damage that reduce some of the fire damage Marowak might have been trying to do. Not sure what else Pelipper's going to do, but we have Tapu Lele going for the Protect. Just to keep itself in the game a little bit longer. We see the Shadow Bone from Marowak actually targeting down the Tapu Lele, and we have Psychic from Oranguru into the Pelipper slots. Potentially then Ben predicted that there was going to be a switch out, because otherwise, why would you Psychic the
Absolutely.
yellow Raichu?
Ben was just doing what we were talking about, covering many options in one turn, and that Psychic was really good prediction. The Pelipper now goes down to a second Psychic, and Marowak is still free to Shadow Bone in the Tapu Lele slot. So As you can see from Ben, he's saying he thinks he's in a good position.
No, he nods like that all the time.
Okay.
But we have Raichu coming back in now. I think the Tapu Lele did go for the double protect. There wasn't much else it could do there. And we see Marowak free to fire off the Shadow Bone into the Tapu Lele slot and take it out.
Oh, this really hurts. And Oranguru again goes for a Psychic. Raichu is resisting it, Alolan Raichu in particular, because it found its Psychic type in the Alolan region.
Apparently the Alolan natives are not, according to the Pokemon.com website, are not sure why it's taken on this new appearance in Alola. They theorised that it may be because it has eaten too many sweet and fluffy pancakes. That is a direct quote from Pokemon.com, ladies and gentlemen. Sweet and fluffy pancakes give you psychic abilities.
Kay never kids you.
I never kid. It's alright, I was promoting healthy eating and grapes on stream earlier. I'm allowed to promote sweet and fluffy pancakes now. But so now we have to see what Niels is thinking very hard about what he brings into the Tapu Lele slot here, because Ben is in a very strong position here. And Niels' entire team, he does have his own Marowak, which could be coming in here if he brought it with him. But instead we have the Pelipper coming back in.
And Ben is still nodding with his head, still in a very good position. Psychic Terrain is still up, so Raichu cannot use a Fake Out. Marowak can go for Shadow Bone again twice, thanks to Instruct, and Ben is in a really good position. Niels has to play defensively, but his team is like pretty frail. It's not a defensive team like Wolfie's or Eric's, and it's pretty hard for such aggressive teams to play it safe and to make defensive switches. But
we have Kartana switching out. I was wondering if we were going to see. That's unfortunate. Psychic Terrain does stay out even when the Tapu Lele is not on the field anymore. It does still last a few more turns. We see the Kartana switching in, taking some damage, and that is unfortunate on Niels' part. Raichu would love to have been able to fire a Fake Out that turn. It really wanted to, but alas, it was not able to. I did wonder if we were going to see a double protect and try and stall out the Trick Room or the Psychic Terrain on Ben's side, so I wondered if the Pelipper and the Raichu were both going to protect, but instead we saw the Raichu go for the Fake Out and the Pelipper switch out for Kartana.
Was good switch in, not so good timed Fake Out, and an unfortunate miss by Ben's Marowak brought Niels back into a pretty comfortable situation if he double protects here.
Which may be what we're about to see. We see Kartana protecting, Raichu not protecting, so the Shadow Bone is going to collide with that Raichu and is almost certainly going to take it out.
Yeah.
Raichu going down, so we're going to have Kartana and Pelipper remaining as the final two on Niels' side of the field. So, and the weirdness disappears from the battlefield. Sadly, the Raichu is down, and so there won't be any... I don't think there's going to be any priority shenanigans from Niels' side of the field, despite the Psychic Terrain being down, but it means that Oranguru is doing a little bit less damage with its own Psychics.
Now this is going to be interesting. Kartana got a pretty high attack stat, so it is pretty much free to attack the Oranguru slot. If Oranguru goes down, its attack stat probably boosts due to Beast Boost. Pelipper, though, needs to one-hit KO that Marowak, and we see the Leaf Blade coming, taking out the Oranguru, boosting its attack, and if Pelipper is taking out that Marowak, Niels is back in a good slot.
But we'll have to see how much damage this does. It was a full HP Marowak, but in the rain, Scald is too powerful, and the Marowak does go down. So now we may actually get to see what other Pokemon Bren brought to this fight.
I'm really curious.
If he brought the Hariyama, there's potential for Fake Out pressure there. It does indeed have the Hariyama with him, and his other Pokemon is Ninetales. We have a Alolan Ninetales back on the field. It'll be setting up the hail, getting rid of the rain, so Pelipper's Scalds won't be doing as much damage now.
Now this is going to be interesting. Pelipper always has a potential White Guard, so Ben may Fake Out, but he has to Fake Out the right mon. It's pretty much safe to Fake Out the Kartana slot, and freeze dry. We have seen freeze dry Ninetales already in, I think it was the first round of Swiss.
It was the first round of the first day, yes it was.
Yeah,
the Ninetales does have freeze dry.
So Hariyama probably uses Fake Out, and Ben is going to use freeze dry into the Palapa slot, taking it out, and then it's pretty hard for Katana to take out both Hariyama and Ninetales, and here we go.
Here we go, so the freeze dry, and it does pick up the KO on Pelipper. Kartana, while it could potentially threaten either of these by itself, on this little HP, and with 2 opposing Pokemon on Ben's side of the field, I think this is now Ben's game for the taking.
Yeah, especially Kartana is so frail on the special side. It cannot take any attack. Ninetales throws at it, and Hariyama usually knows close combat. We have seen on Battle Spot loads of Flame Orb variants though. I'm pretty impressed this one isn't, and there we go.
There we go, Ben Kiriakou from the UK taking this final game of this match against Niels of Sweden.
Yeah.
Ben looking pretty relieved there.
So, on the red side, like I said, Toby. And now we are going to see the teams on Toby's side. On the right, we've seen the Magnezone, Hariyama, Salamence, Politoed, Porygon 2, and the Tapu Bulu. And on the left side, on Alejandro Gomez, the Rakranit, the Porygon 2, the Tapu Koko, excuse me, the Katana, Salamence, and the Mag Alolofo.
Yeah, and to give a bit of background on these players, I'm sure we've mentioned this before, but Alejandro is a national champion. He did win the UK Nationals last year. He also won a regional in Lyon in 2015, but it was still in 2016 formats. He's also top cut many a regional in that same season, and top cut the World Championships in the seniors division twice. Meanwhile, Tobias Koshitsky is he was in the final of the 2015 National Championships in Germany, and the next year, in 2016, he came top 4. He's been at the top 16 in the World Championships in 2015. Basically, this is a player who has never, ever had a bad result, I think.
It is, yeah, and in my area, we are playing PCs in Germany, and he used to always come from West Berlin to West Germany to Middle Germany, and he always came to our PCs and most likely won everything. Maybe he won or did the second place, but I lost 2 times on the PC against him, and he's a pretty tough opponent. Yeah, he's definitely one of the very scariest newcomers out there, but we are going to be jumping into the battle right now, and we are going to be seeing the leads from Toby's side. We see the Magnezone and the Salamence getting that Intimidate off, yet on Alejandro Gomez's side we have the response lead from Tapu Koko and Kartana. This is a very powerful lead when you see you have one of the most Pokemon with the best stats in base, best stats ever made. So getting a drop on Katana is a big thing, but Katana can't do anything much about Salamence. Maybe a Sacred Sword if he's having it against Magnezone, but it's still something after the drop you don't mention that much. But Magnezone is really a great pick against Tapu Koko because Thunderbolt and all stat moves, especially a hidden power, can't move Magnezone pretty much. Yeah, and Kartana can't even switch out here if Toby does have the Magnet Pull. Yeah, also the thing, yeah. Did he already relieve Magnet Pull? I mean, it's quite obvious, but he kind of reveals. I mean, there's no real way of knowing for people watching on the lovely stream, but we do see the Salamence protecting right here, protecting from any sort of dazzling gleams from the Tapu Koko, but read into that. But it was just a Thunderbolt target onto the Salamence with a simple Sacred Sword target onto the Magnezone. Doesn't do half damage, that is very little damage, and the Magnezone does set up a substitute, allowing it to start recovering with leftovers. Yeah, nice play by Gomez here, by Alejandro. Just putting up Sacred Sword, doing like a half of damage, but anyway, targeting with Tapu Koko wouldn't change anything because having the Thunderbolt damage off or the Wild Charge or whatever wouldn't be such a big deal, so trying to get some damage on Salamence if in the case he was not trying to protect, so it's a good start by Alejandro, by Tobias, always having a little bit of advantage when you have your sub up, so I'm very curious if he's going to protect with Magnezone, because this sub and protect afterwards is always a combination he likes.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very defensive play, but Alejandro might want to consider these defensive plays in the future so that he can try his best to punish them. But we do see the Salamence switching out, not wanting to take a Thunderbolt. Instead, we see the Hariyama come in its place, and we see the Tapu Koko go for the Thunderbolt into the substitute. It's going to break the substitute. Alejandro is very happy about that, possibly because he did double target that slot and was worried about a protect. Let's see what the Katana does. It is the Sacred Sword into the Magna Zone, and I believe that will pick up the KO. Excellently done by Alejandro. Excellently done.
Yeah, a little bit too risky by Tobias playing the substitute off, but getting so much damage even after the drop. Now Katana is able to get plus-minus null for 0 now from the boost, so it's a pretty good position now for Alejandro. But anyway, Tobias getting his Salamence back, gets the Katana back on -1 attack. Still, if you would ask me, it's kind of okay position now for Tobias. If Alejandro Gomez would have the Dazzling Gleam, it would be 2 times very effective, but not even close to get the 1 KO on Salamence.
Yeah, that's true. The Dazzling Gleam is going to do a lot of damage to both these Pokemon. I believe the Katana might want to switch out though to reset those Intimidates. Now that it finally can without the without the Magna Zone in the way.
Yeah, it should be. But Haramia also gets a Fake Out Pressure, so maybe you could see some double targets here. I hope so, because also the question, Alejandro Gomez always had the option to pick up the double protect, but I remember Tobias had substitute on his Salamence.
Oh yeah, that's true, but we do see the protect on the Tapu Koko. We do see the correct fake out target onto Tobias. What a wonderful play by him. Katana does flinch, and the Salamence does go for the flamethrower. The sash is broken, so the Katana is going to go straight down.
Huge predict, really. This was an awesome predict, because Tobias had a reason to pick up the fake out and the flamethrower on Katana, because Katana is most likely wearing the focus sash, because anyway, even if it takes the flamethrower, it would survive with 1 HP, but Alejandro Gomez taking the risk because it was so obvious, fake out and the flamethrower into Katana, just taking the risk to deal some damage to Katana. Was a nice try, but Tobias smelled it and did a really good job. Great predict, man.
Yeah, and Araquanid does come back out here. Not quite as threatening as it might be, but maybe Alejandro doesn't have anything ideal in the back.
He should, yeah, but Araquanid is really solid now, because Hariyama don't have any attacks who are very effective. Maybe he's running a knockoff, or Rock Slide wouldn't be a big deal. And Salamence also is very specially attacked, but Araquanid has a huge special defense, so it shouldn't mind. Maybe we are seeing, I guess it was a White Guard physical set, when I remember correct, by Alejandro.
Yeah, but we do see the Tapu Bulu switch in favor of what was there before, and we do see the Salamence protecting, and we see a Z move, and I think Alejandro doesn't look entirely happy about that. Maybe he did target into the Tapu Bulu. It would be a little bit of a shame if that does happen. We do see the Hydro Vortex is going to activate, and I guess it's a question of which target it hits, and it is going to be that Tapu Bulu. Excellent switch by Tobias.
Excellent switch, yeah. But also excellent switch by Alejandro, predicting the Tapu Bulu comes in, bringing your own Mug instead for having a counter pick. But anyway, 50% of damage is nice, is also this, but anyway, thanks to the grass field ability, Tapu Bulu has the chance to heal himself. And now Mook is still threatening the Tapu Bulu, but if Salamence Tapu Bulu could manage to pick up the double target onto Mug, this could be a very huge thing, because Araquanid without the Set Crystal isn't a big deal for Tapu Bulu or Salamence.
Yeah, the Araquanid is really not sitting very pretty here. It's probably going to switch out in favour of that Tapu Koko, but the Tapu Koko switch might be a little bit obvious as well. Maybe Tobias can find a way to punish that.
Yeah, we hope so, but anyway, I think it should be a protect on Mark, because it would be a very safe play. But anyways, we're seeing the switch out from Tapu Bulu by Tobias, getting the Hariyama back in, fake out pressure, here we are, and the substitute for Salamence.
Yeah, we do see the substitute from the Salamence, quite a defensive play, knowing that neither the Muck nor the Araquanid particularly threaten it, so he can substitute quite freely. And we do see the liquidation into the Salamence. Will it be able to knock out the substitute?
Should be, it should.
Not very effective. It does fade. The substitute does fade. And we did see a Poison Jab from Hariyama, which did not very much. And now we're going to see all the grassy terrains. Oh, I guess the Market and the Araquanid haven't taken any damage yet.
Yeah, well played by Alejandro. Also, just doing the safe plays, doing the poison jab, because the switch was kind of obvious, but anyway, you have nothing to lose even if you get the poison jab. Maybe you get the poison off, it would be great, but unfortunately for Alejandro, he didn't get the poison, but it's good for Tobias. And still, Salamence is in a great position now. He can try the substitute again, thanks to the fake out pressure by Hariyama, but Mak don't want to give any... But I think we are going to see both attacks into Salamence, just to have no chance to substitute. But anyway, no fake out here by him. Seeing again the poison jab into the Salamence.
Yeah. The substitute is going to fade from the poison jab. Tobias not entirely happy about that. Maybe he thinks he should have gone for a fake out play. But we do see the knockoff onto the Muck, which is going to knock off the Fiki Berry, which means Muck can't recover from that anymore. Well, we do see the liquidation onto Salamence. How much is it going to do? Wow, that's decent damage on that Salamence. And the defense drop, I guess, with the health that the Salamence has remaining doesn't matter too much. But now, importantly, the Salamence can no longer set up the substitute.
I was sorry for saying this. Liquidation is way more stronger, or way more damage on Salamence than I thought so.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's quite funny. But anyway, Salamence is still the fastest Pokemon on the field. He still can do a decent amount of damage, but still, we had a Z move, Dragon Z move here, so he still didn't use it. He had a chance to do a lot of damage against Smoke, and pretty okay, or over 50% damage at least on Araquanid. So I'm curious if he's going to do this.
Yes, that is very true. The devastating Drake is very devastating indeed if it does target any one of these targets. Alejandro is still taking his time to really pick the most optimal move for him to do. We are going to see a switch out from the Araquanid, maybe fearing a devastating Drake onto that slot. Tobias is either grinning in frustration or satisfaction. But we do see the Muck protect. Tobias is nodding his head there. Maybe he thinks that was a great play, but we do see the Z move from the devastating Drake on the Salamence.
Yeah, but when I see Tobias' face, maybe it could be really into the top.
Alejandro looks very tense right now. He's very scared.
Oh,
hey, he did it. But wow, excellent covering of options there. We're talking poison jab on the Hariyama, doing a lot of damage to that Tapu Koko. Excellent coverage of options.
Yeah, so this is the perfect example for Tobias' reactions. Was like, okay, damn it, my Z move goes into a Fairy type, into immunity. But anyway, getting the poison jab into Tapu Koko is a kind of fair trade because you knew about the protect on Muck anyway. So there was no so much to lose because Salamence can't use his Z Crystal anyways because Tapu Koko is faster and he's sure to get the knockout on Salamence.
Yeah, that's very true, especially with the Dazzling Gleam that is more than likely going to come out right now. But if a Tapu Bulu does switch in, maybe Alejandro could punish it with a Poison Jab prediction. But yeah, we're going to be seeing what moves these guys just picked. Tapu Koko does go for the protect, maybe making some sort of waiting until Salamence goes for its own Draco Meteor. Maybe he's expecting expecting Alejandro to expect the Tapu Bulu switching, but we do see the Draco Meteor onto Muck. It's not going to be able to knock it out. Salamance's special attack drops, and we do see the Poison Jab onto the Hariyama slot, actually cleverly done, and we do see the close combat onto the Muck. It's going to knock it out. Yes, it is going to knock it out, and reduce its defenses to very low numbers.
Great play by Tobias, because the obvious play by Alejandro was like just thunderbolting into the Salamence, getting rid of one Pokemon, but it was so obvious because Hariyama had the chance to get KO on Tapu Koko, and Alejandro doesn't want to take his Tapu Koko down so quick, so just protecting it and getting with Araquanid with Muck as much damage on Hariyama as possible. But anyway, it was too late. Tobias smelled like it gets a little bit low predicts here, and yeah, was everything right. Double up into the Muck, getting it off, and now it's like 3-2 for Tobias.
Yeah, that's true. Tobias does seem to have the advantage, but we haven't seen a Dazzling Gleam on this Tapu Koko, but we do see it there. It's going to knock out both of the Pokemon, while Araquanid is just... If it has Substitute, which I don't think it does, this would be the perfect moment for it to use it. But I doubt I think we're just going to see a random offensive move in this Tapu Koko right now. Yeah, Leech Life. But yeah, Tobias does have the Tapu Bulu in the back. What do you reckon of this 2-on-1?
Yeah, but it's pretty kind of decent now for Tobias. It depends on the special attack by Tapu Koko, because the field effect is definitely... Oh well, the field effect is maybe more important than I thought, because Tapu Koko would faint at next round on Life Orb, but if he's going to protect and taking the recovery by the field, he's going to bring up 2 attacks next round. So we're seeing, okay, Tapu Bulu getting the heal by the field, but also giving the chance Tapu Koko to get the heal. So,
well, that is true. Tapu Koko can heal, which means now it does have enough health to make a move and not go down to Life Orb damage.
Yeah, I don't know if Tobias was thinking about this, because you have your plan, you have just fill up your HP from Tapu Bulu, because you need to leech life into the Araquanid. This is the play. So maybe, yeah, we are seeing a Dazzling Gleam for Tapu Koko into Tapu Bulu, doing
very decent damage. If the Tapu Bulu hasn't targeted the Tapu Koko, well, it has, but maybe the hydration, maybe the liquidation is going to be enough to knock out the Tapu Bulu. We do see the handshake. I think they know the end result of this match. Do we see the leech life? Yes, we do see the leech life into the Tapu Bulu. It's going to bite into that and knock it out. So the first game does go to Alex Gomez of Spain against Tobias Korzystki from Germany.
Yeah, a very intense match. I'm not sure if I'm okay with the protect play by Tobias when Tapu Bulu comes in, because he had quite a little bit better chance to get up just Horn Leech into a Araquanid, because Tapu Bulu, maybe he thought he would stay 1 more Life Orb damage, so he was calculating, okay, I don't want to go to risk, I just want to set up to protect and keep up Horn Leeching, just hoping not Dazzling Gleam doing so much damage. But in the rare perspective, I would say the better play would be like, just try yourself into a Horn Leech, into the Araquanid, and letting Life Orb doing his thing.
I think he just simply forgot either about the Life Orb or about the grassy terrain healing the Tapu Koko, and you know, it's been a long day for him, so you know, you can't blame him for making a mistake by not really quite thinking about all the details on everything. But we are going to go into the second game right now. To remind you all of the teams, Alex Gomez has Araquanid, Porygon 2, Tapu Koko, Katana, Salamence and Muck, while Tobias Korzystki has the Magnezone, Hariyama, Salamence, Politoed, Porygon 2 and Tapu Bulu.
Yeah, and thinking about the last turn, like you see, it's a long day for both. Yesterday was a long day, today was a long day, the preparation was a long week or weeks, who knows?
Yeah. Since the game came out, essentially.
Yeah, it's true. And it's so tough because this generation, VGC 70 is the most difficult, because you have the fields, you have weather, you have so much stuff to keep in mind, also the items. So I don't blame Tobias if you forget about the Life Orbs, the grass fields, all the things you have to keep in mind. Why you have just like your 45 seconds for move.
Yes, but I guess at the end of the day, you know, it's a very tiny mistake, but even the tiniest mistake can cost you the match. But we are going to be jumping into our second game of this set, Alejandro Gomez versus Tobias Korzystki. We are going to see a lead from Alex Gomez of Tapu Koko and Salamence, while Tobias goes for a simple lead of Magnezone and Salamence, getting off the Intimidate yet again.
Yeah, now we see Salamence on both sides of the field. Most likely the usual running Salamence are max speed, so I'm not sure if you're going to see a speed tie here, because Alejandro Gomez even got the Tapu Koko on the field, but isn't able to deal quite enough damage for a 1-hit KO on Salamence from Tobias. So, but Tapu Koko don't like his position as long as Magnezone is there, because you can hit the Salamence very effectively, but Salamence from Tobias, yeah, don't like to stay into a Salamence, especially no one likes turn 1 speed tie.
Yeah, that is very true. We could see the entire outcome of the game be decided on this one turn, depending on if the Salamences target each other with the Dragon move. But what are we going to see from any one of these players? I guess time will tell.
Yeah, and Magnezone this is the reason why Magnezone's typing is also that great, because you get only one Pokemon who gets the same timing, like Togedemaru, but Magnezone is way stronger, more physical bug, but it's a very slow Pokemon actually.
Yeah, that's true, but we do see the Salamence switch out for the Tapu Bulu. It's going to set up the grassy terrain, and the Magnezone will protect, making sure that no potential Thunderbolt Flamethrower is going to that slot. We do see the Thunderbolt onto Tapu Bulu. It's going to take a little bit of damage, but not too much as it does resist. We do see the Fire Blast onto the Magnezone. If that Fire Blast had gone into the Tapu Bulu, then...
I almost thought it was the Tapu Bulu.
Yeah.
His animation, he was like acting like moving and okay, in the protect, everything is okay. But it's still interesting how Tobias moved from the more not really offensive way, but now he's way more safe because he don't want to play, like I said, no one wants to play the turn 1 speed tie because the loser might lose the game just because of one turn or 50% in the first turn. So he was like moving to Tapu Bulu, catching up the dragon move he was predicting. But now he's in a difficult position because Salamence has a fire move, so it's a very strong fire move, and Tapu Koko and Salamence are able to get the knockout on Tapu Bulu or Magnezone.
Yeah, and the Magnezone is threatened by that Fire Blast, but the Fire Blast can also miss. We do see a switch in back to the Salamence from where the Tapu Bulu used to be. The Intimidate is going to go off. I don't think that affects either one of these Pokemon very much, but we do see the Magnezone being withdrawn as well, not wanting either of his Pokemon to take a Fire Blast. What do we see from Alex on Alex's side? We see a taunt onto the Hariyama, making sure it can protect, but unfortunately for Alex, Salamence doesn't get any very powerful flying moves like it did in previous generations.
Very unfortunate for Alex, but great switch in it by Tobias, getting it now in a way better position because having the fake out, Hariyama having no damage, Salamence could be maybe in a dazzling range to get KO'd, so he should be able to get, I don't know, maybe he's trying to fake out into Tapu Koko and getting his own sub out. This would be the safe play with a kind of twist turning match.
Yeah, that is very, very true. We are going to see what these players select. Alejandro is really taking his time on these moves, but of course he doesn't want to make any mistakes because, you know, mistakes can cost games like we did see in the game before. But we are going to see a fake out from the Hariyama into the Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is going to flinch, and we see the Drake, the devastating Drake from, I believe, Toby's side of the field. This could be extremely dangerous for Alejandro. Does the Drake go into the Salamence, or if it goes into the Salamence, then I don't see Alejandro recovering from this position because that is a speed tie, and it is going to be the Salamence. Oh wow, what a lucky break for Tobias winning that speed tie there.
It is, yeah. This is the reason why this could also happen in the first turn. So both players decided not running both turn. This huge decision, but anyway, Tobias had no way out, just going to the speed tie. He was avoiding in the first turn, but now, lucky for him, he won the speed tie, gets a knockout onto the Salamence, and now his Salamence has still a Draco Meteor free.
Yeah, that is very, very true. But Tapu Koko does threaten, of course, with the Dazzling Gleam, but nothing a simple defensive switch can solve. We are going to see the Muck come out on Alejandro's side of the field, probably a good option to cover for that Tapu Bulu slot, maybe?
It is, yeah, but you have to keep Muck with more HP because Tapu Bulu is kind of threat, especially when Salamence is down. So you always want to keep your own, you kind of best option against Tapu Bulu with full HP or at least more than 50 HP. So Hariyama always gets the knockout, what every Mook don't like because the Gluttony and Frilky Berry is awesome.
Yeah, that is true, and knockoff is going to be a problem for the Muck. Muck does also learn knockoff, possibly one of the best knockoff users in the format, as it does get the boost there, but we're probably not going to see it in this turn. We do see the switch from Salamence into the Magnezone, a Pokemon that doesn't quite fear the Muck at all, and we do see the Dazzling Gleam into both of these Pokemon. The Hariyama takes that quite well. It takes about over 50%. The lifesteal damage is going to start stacking up with Tapu Koko right here, and we do see the Poison Jab into the Hariyama, going to bring it down but not quite knock it out, and we do see the knockoff onto Muck, and it does lose its Figgy Berry.
Yeah, and this is a very important turn because Hariyama or Tobias was free to get the Poison Jab out of Tapu Koko, but he was pretty sure this wouldn't be enough to a KO. So just weaken Muk as much as you can for a late game sweep with Tapu Bulu. I guess this is a plan Tobias had in the head now.
Yeah, that's true. The Hariyama is going to go down to whatever move Alejandro picks right now. But Tobias, does he sacrifice the Hariyama? Does he sacrifice the Salamence? Or does he risk switching in the Tapu Bulu and getting poison jabbed with Alejandro wanting to make a prediction?
This is hard to say, but I don't think he needs Hariyama anymore because he never needed this fake-out pressure he always could have. Because he was like, Hariyama is more like an attacker, not a supporting Pokemon with a fake-out. So close combat, knockoff and poison jab is way more an option than every fake-out.
Yeah, that's true. What are we going to see? These guys are taking a lot of time. I don't think I've seen any other pair of players take this much time to select their moves. Your time is going to run down quite quickly, but we do see a single target Thunderbolt onto that Magnezone, leaving the Hariyama to, you know, recover some HP. We do see the Flash Cannon onto the Tapu Koko. It's going to bring it right down. I think that's only 2 more Life Orb hits that you can take, minus the Grassy Terrain recovery, and the Poison Jab is just about enough to knock out the Hariyama. I do like that play. He gets the knockout on Hariyama while doing significant damage to the Magnezone.
Yeah, Magnezone takes a little bit of damage, but it heals especially big because of the leftovers and the grassy field. But anyway, the typing of Magnezone is just awesome and great here, but still Muk has still a knockoff onto the Magnezone, so this is something would be pretty huge. But the grass field is away. I'm curious if Tobias gets Tapu Bulu back, but you don't want to give Tapu Koko from Alejandro too much heal, because maybe he's speculating on less than 10% of heal for the Life Orb, but okay, he's most likely not speculating on him.
Yeah.
So bringing Tapu Bulu back.
Tapu Bulu does come back to cover the Grassy Terrain again. I certainly believe we're going to see the Tapu Bulu switch back out for the Muk. Do you reckon Alejandro is going to be bold and make some sort of prediction?
This is a good question, Matt, actually. So someone has to be the risky one and someone has to be the safe one. So if both go risky and just attack, it would be insane, but I don't think so, because Tapu Koko can just do a little bit of damage, but Magnezone is faster than the Muk, Tapu Bulu is faster than the Muk. It's just keep up if he wants to keep Tapu Koko alive or not.
Yeah, that is definitely the question. Tapu Koko does need to be preserved, and especially with the Life Orb damage starting to stack up. We see the taunt onto Tapu Bulu, making sure it doesn't set up a substitute. Brilliantly done by Alejandro, but the Tapu Koko does go down. He does sacrifice the Tapu Koko. I don't think he looks extremely happy about that. Maybe he was hoping for Magnezone to protect, and we do see the Poison Jab onto the Tapu Bulu. I'm not entirely sure about this play. I feel like if Tapu Koko was to go down, maybe it would want to do some damage to Magnezone, but preventing the substitute was actually quite big.
Yeah, the substitute wasn't actually a bad play. It's just like he hadn't Taunt in mind. He forgot about Taunt, or he didn't think about Taunt, or he wasn't predicted about Taunt, but Taunt was the play for Alejandro, doubling up into the Tapu Koko, knocking out the biggest threat now. So he's now in a pretty good position, because Alejandro now dug out Tapu Bulu, only have Salamence and Magnezone out there. So still, Arachnoid still got his Z move, right?
Yeah, Arachnoid does still have a Z move, but it is a little bit threatened by the Magnezone, and the Intimidates aren't going to be favouring Alejandro either. Arachnoid, even with the Z Crystal, I don't know if it's going to be quite enough to pick up the KO on this bulky Magnezone.
Depends on. I don't think Arachnoid's one of the slower Pokemon too. So Magnezone should be also faster than Arachnoid. So it depends on how much damage Muk can do against the Magnezone, because knockoff would be kind of strong because of the leftovers. No leftovers, so Magnezone is also less recovery. That's something Alejandro is going for. But we're seeing the Protect from Salamence, don't want any damage on it. Magnezone also protecting. Okay, just want to up the heal by Magnezone.
Yeah, we do see 2 protects. Alejandro does protect, so Tobias does know which one to scout out. And we see the curse from these Muk. What? What?
I saw a lot of boosting moves on Mark. I saw it minimized, I saw it sometimes stockpile, but I never saw it on the curse. So having a curse on Mark is like your speed decrease, but you increase your attack and def.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, the defense boost, not quite so useful against these two special attackers, but the attack drop, he makes up for that attack drop from the Intimidates earlier, and he must have predicted a double protect here, but we are going to see probably a double target onto that Muck, but we don't. We just see the Draco Meteor onto the Araquanid. It's going to do not as much damage as I thought it would do, and we see the Thunderbolt onto Araquanid. It's going to finish it off. Meanwhile, it's not... Oh, well, I thought it did. I thought it did. For a moment, it didn't look like it didn't. Muck is going to go for the Poison Jab onto the Salamence. It's not going to do quite... Decent damage.
No poison. He was begging for no poison, because poison would be the worst thing what could happen. But anyway, now Tobias in a very good position. Having his Magnezone out, Mook only can knock off, but even with a knockoff, it's pretty decent because Thunderbolt is strong. But maybe we could. I don't think he has another turn for curse. So getting your curse off was important, because -1 Muck is way too what.
Yeah, we do see the Draco Meteor missing the Muck and the Magnezone setting up a substitute. We're going to see the Muck just go for a simple knockoff onto the substitute and probably just break it from there. It's pretty simple turn, I would say.
Pretty simple turn, yeah. And I wouldn't say unfortunately, because you can also do it again, doing the Draco Meteor on Muck, especially hoping for a crit, because -2 Salamence wouldn't deal so much damage on Muck, but you want to see any damage. But maybe it's better, because he didn't get a heal by the field, so he can use it again. They avoid it again!
We see yet another Draco Meteor miss. Tobias is grinning right there. I believe we're just going to see another... we see a Poison Jab onto the Salamence. I believe that might have been a prediction that just didn't work out for Alejandro.
It was a try, because the normal play by Tobias would be like, after the substitute, just
protects, yeah.
Sure, to keep up your recovery there, not spending again 25% of your HP for the substitute in case he would knock it off. But now he can just relax and protect. But if you protect and Alejandro is in the risky mode, he could set up just a curse.
Yes, that is true. I think this is going to be an entirely... It's a one-on-one. It's quite an exciting one-on-one, because it's going to be... It's all about the curses. It's all about the... Alejandro is grinning there. Is he going... Did he go for the curse? Oh, he went for the knockoff. Tobias knows fully well that he got that call right. But Alejandro at least now knows that the Magnezone can't protect for a second turn. At least it wouldn't risk it. So Alejandro... probably is going to go for the knockoff. Does Tobias risk a double protect?
I don't think he have no reason to do this, but I'm very curious how much the Thunderbolt is doing against the Muck. We've seen the beautiful animation, and now quite over 40%. It's okay, but you see a paralyze.
Oh, that could change everything, because everything is a 50-50 right now, but with the paralysis, everything becomes a 53 times out of 8. So, yeah. Very fortunate for Tobias. Maybe he can play the game now a little bit more on substitute, but he don't have a reason now to play substitute. He can set up another protect, why not? But he's decided to get an attack, getting the Thunderbolt off into the Muck. I think it's over, unless we see this knockoff critical hit.
Even a critical hit wouldn't be enough.
Well, I think excellently played by Tobias. He does finally take a game back. Alejandro, you know, like... I did like the way he played during this one, but I don't quite see what he could do differently to win this one.
It's definitely because Muck is one of the important Pokemon, because Tapu Bulu is the powerhouse in attack and one very dangerous last poke sweep. But when you are keeping the Muck alive, you always have to keep up, change up with Magnezone, because Magnezone was a big deal. But the game would be way different if Alejandro won the speed tie with the man. So
yes, very much so.
I think in both players are leading kind of the same. And again, avoiding the turn 1 if both players are leading up with Salamence. I think one player, at least Alejandro, has to do a risky play and get up in the speed tie.
Yes, that's true. Alejandro has made some risks, but they didn't quite pay out as much as he would have hoped. Tobias takes the second game of this set, and we are going to be moving on to a game 3.
Yeah,
Benno.
game 3, yeah. This is actually, guys, this is the last game we got for today. So, I'm pretty much very hard hyped because I broke my pen. Actually,
you broke your pen.
Yeah, it's not the first time I do it, but now it was. Yeah, it's just a pen. Come on. I can still write my notes, so it's okay.
I bet you still have an emotional bond to that pen. But anyway, guys, we are going to be jumping almost back into this to the third game of this best of 3 set. We are probably shaken awake from his mistake in game 1. Maybe will he step up in game 3? Do you reckon?
I think so, because when you're losing the first game, you're always like a little bit hang down, and when you're winning the next match, when you get from the 0-1 to 1-1, this is a very good feeling. So, but we are seeing both players extremely concentrate, not knowing what to play, because both players are afraid of the speed tie of Salamence, because this could be a very, very good thing.
We do see the teams from Alejandro Gomez. His team is Araquanid, Porygon 2, Tapu Koko, Kartana, Lowland Muck and Salamence, while Tobias has a team of Magnezone, Hariyama, Salamence, Politoed, Porygon 2 and Tapu Bulu.
Yeah. Just before I go into this team, a big shout out to Jay, our other commentator, who was willing me to give me another pen. Thank you, man.
But yeah, guys, give it up for these last 2 players who are going to be playing the very final game of today. And yeah, they are going to find out whether they make top cut. Whoever wins this game does have a chance, but nothing is entirely guaranteed. It all really depends on how well they play in this final game today.
Indeed, man. And before we are seeing lead, what do you think? Are we going to see on both sides Salamence?
Maybe.
Quickly,
it might
say yes or no. Quickly.
Yes, I think so. It's going to be all about those Salamence speed ties, and I think they both know it. And I think maybe they've made a pact to say, okay, we're both going to go for a Salamence speed tie turn 1. Whoever wins it wins the game. But no, we just see a Magnezone Salamence lead from Tobias yet again. That's the 3rd time he's led that. And we see a Tapu Koko Kartana lead, this time from Alejandro, the lead that I believe won him game 1.
That's right. And yeah, game 1 went pretty well for Alejandro, so maybe he's sad about himself for changing the winning team. He brings the same lead combination, he won the first game. So when I remember, it was like after the drop by Katana and Sacred Sword, still over 50% of damage into Magnezone, right?
Well, it only did like 40%, but Magnezone set up a substitute, and then the substitute was broken by a Thunderbolt, and then another Sacred Sword knocked
You're right, thanks.
the Magnezone out.
So still, I'm curious if Katana and Tapu Koko are able to get a double knockout on Salamence. Because if he has Smart Strike and Dazzling Gleam into a Salamence spot, or a Thunderbolt actually, because even stronger thanks to the electric field, this should be very interesting. So I don't know if Tobias thinks about this, or maybe want to risk attack with Salamence to protect with Magnezone.
I really honestly think the Salamence is going to switch out, but Alejandro has almost run out of moves. He has run out of moves. He is hitting his forehead with his palm. He's very embarrassed about that. We just see the simple protect from the Salamence. Maybe this works out for Alejandro. We do see the Thunderbolt into the Kartana and a Leaf Bait into the Magnezone.
Oh,
that was going to be a Sacred Sword, I think. Alejandro running out of time there. That is heartbreaking for him. The Thunderbolt is going to go into the Kartana and drop it down to its Focus Sash. It's been a long day. Alejandro taking so much time in his moves, and I think at this time it just sort of came back to haunt him.
I feel sorry for you, Alejandro, man, because 45 seconds sounds like a much time, but sometimes it's just not enough, especially in the lead metagame. So really shaking off the confusion, shaking it off, having your back head again into the match, just picking up. Now he has a chance to get the double target onto Salamence, maybe pick up the KO.
Yeah, I mean, the Salamence did protect this turn, but it does have the option of switching out. Meanwhile, this Kartana is pretty much fated to stay in the field and probably pretty much take a move from either the Salamence or the Magnezone. The Salamence could, in fact, Devastating Drake into the Kartana to break that protect and get the 1 HP out.
What a waste of a Z.
But we do see the Salamence switch out in favour of the Tapu Bulu. It's going to set up the Grassy Surge and, yeah, take away the electric terrain for the Tapu Koko. We do see the Thunderbolt into the Magnezone actually, and if we see a Sacred Sword, we might see Tobias waste a move on the substitutes, because maybe we can make... We do see a Sacred Sword, it's not quite enough to knock it out. We do see a Thunderbolt probably into the Kartana, it's just going to knock it out, the 1 HP. Well, unfortunate for Alejandro, he could have maybe won that one with a critical hit.
Yeah, he could, yeah, because the high critical rates by leaf play actually in the first turn. But for people out there who say, okay, if he doesn't want out of time and get like the Sacred Sword before it on the Magna Zone, guys, this would be another game because Tobias would be know about the KO chance by Thunderbolt and Sacred Sword. So it would be different if you doesn't get out of time. So everything is cool, I guess.
Yes, that leaf blade was really, really huge because I think Tobias did realise that at that point, you know, the Magna Zone was not in damage range of another Sacred Sword and a Thunderbolt, because from game one we saw that it was really, really tightly damage rolls on that.
Yeah, and still, Tobias now like really his position, but Magna Zone is so much damage, so he can't wall Mug anymore. So anytime. If he's going to need Magna Zone, he could protect now, getting some leftovers and grass field here. I think this would be some of the safe play, but Tapu Bulu still don't like to stay into Salamence and Tapu Koko, so still, Alejandro, watch your time, man. Okay.
Yeah, almost forgot to input his moves before time again. Tapu Bulu does protect in case of any sort of moves, and we do see the Dazzling Gleam. He's going to do the tiniest bit of damage to the Magna Zone. It's not quite enough to knock it out, but quite close actually with the Life Orb boost. But we do see the Flamethrower onto the Tapu Bulu protecting slot. What do we see the Magna Zone do? We do see a Thunderbolt onto the Salamence. A full paralysis here would be very... No, it didn't happen. So Tobias not quite getting the lucky breaks he did in the first couple of games, but Magna Zone should be in range of another Dazzling Gleam. Oh yeah, the leftovers recovery, I suppose, would bring him back up again.
But still, now it's in the range for Dazzling Gleam. He had a little bit of more last time, but I'm surprised how much Dazzling Gleam does, because I thought it was a little bit less. Yeah,
that's true. Don't underestimate Life Orb Tapu Koko, guys.
That's right. He's fast, and when you're running Choice Band, Choice Packs, or Life Orb, it also has quite a little bit of power, so it's okay.
Yeah, very much true. Very much true. But yeah, Alejandro has already picked his moves. He knows exactly what he wants to do. Tobias is the one taking a little bit more time because maybe he's at risk here. The Tapu Bulu does switch out, not wanting to take a Flamethrower from the Salamence, and we see the Hariyama come out to take any sort of move. We do see it protect from the Magna Zone so that it can recover even more and take another Dazzling Gleam. We do see the Dazzling Gleam into that slot, into both slots really. It's going to do decent damage to Hariyama, while a Flamethrower is probably going to come out into that slot as well. Yes, we do see the Flamethrower. The Hariyama is probably going to take that Flamethrower, but with the Fake Out next turn, maybe Tobias will have enough to set up a substitute.
Yeah, he will, but seeing on the damage, we're definitely seeing a Hariyama without Thick Fat, so maybe he's running Adrenaline, but it'd be okay choice. I also remember some people playing like Trick Room and Flame Orb. Hariyama would be very fun because
with the Guts ability, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Guts, yeah, Adrenaline. It's a German name.
But yeah, we see Hariyama is in range of the Dazzling Gleam, but where do you expect the Fake Out target to go?
I would say it's on the Salamence spot, because Tapu Koko is... He should attack on the Thunderbolt to get a chance of a knockout onto Magna Zone. I think it should be a KO. When I see it should be a KO, but anyway, Salamence can get the Flamethrower KO on Hariyama and on Magna Zone. We're seeing a switch out into the Mug.
Okay, that's an odd, interesting choice of a switch. We do see the Fake Out onto the Tapu Koko slot. Tobias calling the Fake Out correct yet again, and we do see the substitute on the Magna Zone. This was definitely not the situation that Alejandro wanted.
This is now horrible for Alejandro. Yeah, getting the Fake Out, just always play. When you're playing against Fake Out, it's for the viewer it's like 50-50, but you have so many possibilities what can happen. Even the attack right through Hariyama, so I think it was like a Dazzling Gleam to get the safe KO on Hariyama. But anyway, switching out into Mug, I don't know if I'm okay with the play.
No, not entirely, but maybe if he did, if Tobias did Fake Out the Salamence, then Tapu Koko wouldn't have been able to knock out the Magna Zone, and Magna Zone could knock out the Salamence from that range. Maybe Alejandro was scared of the Salamence staying in, and a double protect would have been way too risky as well because of Magna Zone substituting.
Yeah, so this is a great punish when it's a great punish for two safe playing. This is like Tobias really likes to do. When you are playing against Tobias and you're too safe, he will punish you brutally.
Yeah, and we do see the Protect yet again. It's going to recover again from the grassy terrain and the leftover. We do see the Dazzling Gleam. It's going to be just enough to knock out the Hariyama. Meanwhile, if we see a curse from this Muck, then maybe we can see Alejandro come back from this one. But the Magnezone is definitely still the threat. It has been the threat all game, but we don't see the curse, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it would be a little bit risky for Alejandro for the chance of getting rid of the substitute. Also, a curse would be also very great, because having a cursed Muck on the field is also great. But also, when most of the Tobias attacker are special, the curse doesn't help you so much, but it's okay. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, the Hariyama is gone, and in the previous 2 games, Muck did lose its Figi Berry to the knockoff, so now it does have the Figi Berry. Do you reckon it can have a big effect on the game?
I'm pretty sure, because normally the berry activates by 25%, but thanks to Gluttony, it activates by 50%, I guess. So it's a better citrus berry. So definitely, because as long as Muck can stay, Tapu Bulu comes in. We can't talk about Tapu Bulu comes in, because you normally don't want to bring up your own Tapu Bulu into a Muck. As long as you bring it in and maybe switch it out again.
Yeah, I think
or maybe just going for going for a switch, or just this looks like a trap. So yeah. I don't think Tapu Bulu stays in an attack.
No, I definitely don't think so. And I think the Tapu Bulu is just too juicy of a target, and the Magnezone is going to be so happy behind that substitute. It's probably going to do whatever it feels like. And we just see the Tapu Koko on Alejandro's side protecting. Toby not looking entirely happy about that, and the Tapu Bulu does protect itself. Alejandro breathing a sigh of relief, maybe. Do we see a Thunderbolt onto the Muck slot? It's going to do about as much damage as we saw in a couple of games before. Do we see the knockoff? We don't. We see the Poison Jab right into that target. Alejandro is heartbroken by that misread.
It was a misread, yeah, but still, you're bringing. It's like a gift bringing a Tapu Bulu into a Muck, because Tapu Bulu can do anything against it. And this is a question: if it's a trap or is it a trap? So how much do I have to predict? And this was like a pretty good move by Tobias, getting the trap on and winning it.
Yeah, I think the match timer has gone down to 5 minutes, so this has been a very, very long game. Alejandro is very tired. Tobias doesn't look entirely energetic himself. There's still some mistakes that can be made on this stream right now, but who do you reckon has the upper hand at this point still?
It's still difficult, because Tapu Bulu gets definitely out here, or maybe he gets an attack on Tapu Koko, but he gets the Salamence in the back, so I don't know if you need Tapu Bulu anymore. So maybe you could say it in, but you see switch off from Tapu Koko into the Salamence, right? Get the Intimidate off. Okay, why not?
Yeah, that's true. I think a safe play Alejandro could have made is maybe go for the Dazzling Gleam and Poison Jab onto the Tapu Bulu slot to cover for the Salamence switch back in and the Tapu Bulu being in the field in the first place. We do see the Thunderbolt into that slot. Does it take it Salamence out? Not that is heartbreaking for Alejandro. And do we finally see a Poison Jab onto the Tapu Bulu? We do. It's going to knock the Tapu Bulu straight out.
What's absolutely okay for Tobias, because when you're facing against Salamence, a -1 Tapu Bulu wouldn't do enough damage, especially not against the Muck. So when we remember on Magnezone before 3 turns, it had like a little bit of HP, like 1. And now thanks to leftovers and the grass field is like over on 50% now.
We have a substitute up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Magnezone has been left alone for maybe a little bit too long, but the Tapu Koko is going to come back in. It's going to remove the grassy terrain, actually, so the Magnezone is only going to be taking the leftovers recovery at this point in time. But the Electric Surge is also a little bit dangerous, as the Magnezone could do even more damage to this Muck than it could before.
Yeah, and Muck is in an interesting range, because I think the Dragon move...
Devastating Drake?
Yeah, thanks, man. I think this would be even enough to get an 1 KO on Muck, and Magnezone have just free field to attack on the Tapu Koko. So as long as Muck has to protect, because he really has, because Tobias has no reason not to get into attack into the Muck.
Yeah.
Magnezone just attack into Tapu Koko. Oh yeah,
it's turned decides it, I think.
Yeah, it decided.
We see the opposing Salamence protect. Alejandro looks heartbroken. brilliant scouting from Tobias himself. It's actually a double protect, taking a little bit of leftovers recovery as well. Do we see the Muck protect as well? Do we see it? We don't see a protect from the Muck, so Muck is going to be able to protect the next turn. But a knockoff into the Magnezone slot, it's going to take some leftovers recovery.
Alright, good for Magnezone, but also he shouldn't take too much time because Muck is also... Oh no, sorry, no more grassy field, no more recovery for Muck. So everything stays the same, but now Alejandro has the option of protecting in Muck.
Yeah, that's true. He can protect Muck and go for a big move on the Salamence. Will it be not enough to knock out the Salamence? Battle to the round timer, it has gone down to 2 minutes, so it's only 2 minutes left of this battle timer until we go into the tiebreakers. Yeah,
but this could be now very fast over, because you only see the Thunderbolt into the Salamence.
Is it going to be enough to knock out? It doesn't knock out! 1 HP! I bet that is 1 HP. And we see the devastating Drake, and we don't see the protect on the Muck. Alejandro does not look happy at all.
And we saw the animation by Tobias doing the same move as this character does by the dragon type attack. But anyway, I don't think it was Evite on staying dead, so it was really a roll. There was really a chance to get the KO, but he didn't. Getting the Z move on should be easily enough. It doesn't!
Wow! 2 HP! 2 HP is going to Alejandro breathing a sigh of relief. The Thinking Berry is going to activate. It's going to recover so much health. Magnezone is going to go for its own Thunderbolt into the Muck. No, into the Tapu Koko. Tobias was expecting to knock out. He is heartbroken. 40 seconds round timer. We see the knockoff onto this Magnezone. It's going to break the substitute. I think Alejandro can still take this by the scruff of his neck.
This went completely out of Tobias' control because he was calculating everything. You know, like, okay, getting my Z move off, gets back. We all thought this could guarantee KO, but it wasn't. But Salamence stayed, Max stayed, so now everything is open.
Seconds left, and I believe Tobias might have the HP advantage. I think he might win the tiebreakers. This is huge. 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds. Oh my god, I don't know what's going to happen here.
This is so tough because Salamence can do anything because
2,
he has
1. Round timer is over, so I think we just have 3 more turns left of this game, or 2 more turns.
2 more turns, yeah. So after this turn, Salamence has to protect it now. But you see it's protected by Tapu Koko, interesting.
Well, we do see a protect from the Tapu Koko, nothing wants to go down. And we don't see this protect from the Salamence, risking a lot. The Muck does go for its own protect. We see a Flamethrower into the Tapu Koko slot, and we see a Thunderbolt, an offensive move. Wow, both the one team all goes for offense, the other team goes for all attack. I think we are going to see it go to the tiebreaker unless we see a prediction go the right way.
Yeah, man, this could be so sick. So, Tobias is still in, both players in a kind of decent position because Tapu Koko just bring up a Dazzling Gleam, get the KO on Salamence, do a little bit of damage, but as long as the electric field is off, Thunderbolt could be a really good, really huge damage on Muck. So, maybe he just wants to stall out the double protect on both players. I'm not really sure, but anyway, Tapu Koko shouldn't... he shouldn't protect now. Just that's the thing for the safe play.
There's so much risk involved right now. They're both, you know, like, it all comes down to this protection. It failed to protect. We see a Draco Meteor onto the Salam, onto the Muck slot. Is it going to be enough to knock out? We saw the devastating Drake not quite do it. Whoa, 7 HP again! The special attack does drop down, but it doesn't matter at this point. We see the Magnezone move, does it into the Muck slot. There's a handshake. I think one of them is accepting defeat at this point. I believe it might be Alejandro. I don't know.
We see the curse.
Oh, the curse? The curse? I believe Toby takes it. Tobias Kushitsky takes the final round.
No chance. There's 1 turn left for the new timer rule. But anyway, Tobias got 2 Pokemon left. You only have to protect with Salamence, attack him with the Magnezone, or you don't even have to
double protect.
Just you can double protect. You can just straight attack. It's the same. So there's no way Toby can lose it. Aspect of no way you can lose it. So
wow.
Alejandro Gomez forfeited and Tobias goes to the win.
Wow.
After a huge match, take the win.
Wow.
Oh boy.
That was a very, very slow game. I must say, those first 3 games were very, very slow. But, wow. Alex Gomez.
There's
a very good hug. They're both very